All right, you ready? All right. Hello. Tell us your name again.
Sure, my name is Matthew Wilcox.
Great. And what year did you graduate?
I graduated here in 2014.
Great. I remember that. And where did you start after you graduated?
Well, when I graduated, Kim Schroeder placed me at the MSU Archives to serve a practicum. And when I finished my degree, I asked if I could stay on part-time. So I was doing part-time work at the archives, and I was also doing AV support at Lansing Community College's West Campus.
Nice. So you had a position, you had always wanted to do audiovisual archiving work. It was great, but then sort of searching for that full-time position, you were hanging on for that?
That's right, yeah, and the work at LCC was really helpful too, because first of all, I was working mostly evenings there, and that when it was downtime, that allowed me the opportunity to work towards my library degree when it was slow. But also, because it was audiovisual support, I was learning a lot more about audiovisual equipment. So that helped me get a better understanding of the equipment that the MSU Archives had. I thought that gave me a bigger step.
Great, great. And that all came together with the practicum then in your final semester?
It did, yeah. And it was interesting because when I first got placed at the archives, I had started off processing papers, the Clark Brody papers. And I thought that that was kind of mildly interesting work, but I was looking for something a little bit different. And then Ed Bush, our electronic records archivist, turned me on to the digitization lab, which was just a little small cubicle at the time. He showed me how to digitize VHS tape. And that brought back the experience that I had with my work at LCC and then earlier work at Art Institute of Pittsburgh, working in music and video business. So it kind of summarized everything that I was doing. Once I started doing that, I decided to change my area of expertise in my college degree to archives and digital content management. And when I got my degree, I asked if I could stay on part-time. I did for about 4.5 years, and then about 2 months ago, a full-time position was made available.
Nice, nice. So wait, let me back up really quick.
Okay.
When you came in, you actually you weren't set on the archives track at that point?
No, not even close. No, when I first started my degree, my concentration was academic librarianship, and it actually was like right up until the last semester.
And was that, I do remember seeing you around here, but then were you using some of the digital media projects lab?
I was, yeah. I was doing some volunteer work at the Charles Wright African American Museum. And I'd go over, I'd grab some audio reels, walk them over to the digitization lab here on campus, and I did some work. One reel that I thought was really interesting, I'm trying to remember the man's name, I think it was James Ray, was a white priest who was beaten to death for standing up for equal rights in the South in Alabama. Martin Luther King gave his eulogy.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was very powerful.
That's very...
So when you find works like that, I mean, that's what kind of gives you, the passion to want to be able to make this work accessible to the public.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it's about so much at the end of the day is pulling that stuff out of a dusty corner and doing the necessary work so the public can learn about it. And so tell us, it's really exciting. Your position panned out ultimately into a full-time position at MSU recently?
It did, and a lot of it was, finger crossing and leaps of faith, hoping and praying. But a few months ago, actually close to a year ago, MSU got a new university librarian, and one of his first big initiatives was to make the archive staff part of the library staff, which I thought made sense. I've seen that in a lot of university settings, they're usually part of like special collections or something like that. So he said, even though you'll be in your same physical location on the other end of campus, you're now part of the library team. So he said that when he sat in on a first staff meeting with us together. The next meeting that he sat in with us, he said, I would like to make everybody full-time continuing appointment, including any part-time staff that are interested.
Wow.
And at the time, there was just myself and one other part-timer. She declined because she has a husband that works full-time for the state. I couldn't raise my hand fast enough.
Wow, it happens.
And it happened, so everything just kind of, the planets aligned, so I thought it was great.
Wow, that's great. I mean, we love to hear, and that's even surprising to me. I didn't even realize when you came in, because I remember hearing about your practicum that you were so passionate about. I thought, oh, he wanted to do archive stuff from the start, but then it actually was sort of another thing where something opened you up into that direction.
Exactly.
And then you're just telling me that you're working with some cool athletic footage that is kind of seeing the light of day really quickly.
Yeah, the part-time work has been great because it's given me a chance to better understand the collections that we have in AV materials of the archives. So the bulk of my work has been working with Spartan Athletic Films. About a year and a half ago, we worked out an arrangement with MSU Athletics, and they said, we know that you've got thousands of reels of 16 millimeter film of games. Basketball games going back to the 40s, football games going back to the 30s. We want to make it accessible. We want to start creating these halls of history to remember past players and past games. So they said, if we purchase a Cintel scanner for you, you agree that you'll crank out some of these films. So for the past year and a half, I had been working on Spartan basketball films, about 700 or 800 reels of film for the Tom Izzo Hall of History in the Breslin Center. My work with that ended about 3 months ago, and now I'm starting to work on Spartan football films for a new edition in the Duffer Doherty building.
Wow, timely. Speaking of Spartan stuff, when they're in the Final Four.
Oh, timing is
tomorrow.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, yeah. I found this.
And that's something where, again, there's a huge appetite for people. Everyone coming into campus for any football game, any basketball game. Love to see that stuff because it's so much the digital age to put it on screens, and gives people all the more reason to take a look, walk around.
Exactly. Well, and you and I were talking about this, with Spartan basketball. Not just the fact that this year's team has just made it to the Final Four. This is also the 40-year championship season for the 78-79 team. Magic Johnson and Greg Kelser and Judd Heathcote. So there's this huge interest in Spartan athletics right now. So it's kind of cool that we can finally make that footage available for everybody to see.
Yeah, wow, that brings it back. It is I remember that year.
Oh yeah. No,
the 70s.
70s.
So, and you're of course up in Lansing. You were just down in Detroit today, and you wanted to swing by to see if
Kim Schroeder, yeah. I wanted to come down to see you as well. I wanted to come down and be able to give my thanks because Wayne State's where I finished my degree. I had been wanting to be a librarian for 20 years. When in 1999 I learned about a field of study called music librarianship, because I have a minor background in music. I was married at the time, and I told my wife then I really want to be a music librarian. I figured this out. We visited Indiana University. She took one look at the campus. She says, I love you, but I can't live here. And so I put it on the back burner, worked retail management for about 10 years, became a father, and all at the same time, my full-time work in retail management ended, and I learned I was going to be a dad. That's what lit the fire under me to start finally working towards my library degree. So I boom, boom, knocked out my BA, boom, boom, knocked out my MLIS, and then got placed at the MSU Archives.
Wow.
And 10 years later, here I am.
Well, we're happy that you didn't go down to Indiana. And
I'm happy too. Indiana's great, but
that's great. And
yeah.
And you took some classes with Professor Kim Schroeder. Were there any other professors you remember taking classes with?
Most of my coursework was online, so I didn't actually get to meet my instructors, but I still liked coming down to the campus every chance I got. I had a data analytics class with Peter Hook.
Yep.
He was fantastic, and he was so patient with me, thank goodness. So, he was fantastic, and there were a lot of other great instructors as well.
Cool. Yep. You were still in that distance where you could drive down if you wanted to do some stuff, as you mentioned, for the Digital Media Projects Lab, getting some volunteer work.
Yeah.
I know you were probably totally, obviously busy juggling, family stuff and things. Were there any student organizations you had a chance to do stuff with, or?
No, unfortunately, there wasn't much time for student organizations.
Yeah.
But like I say, between the 2 part-time jobs, now being a father as
Oh,
well.
exactly.
But I was also on the board of directors for the Capital Area Down Syndrome Association.
Oh.
My son was born with Down syndrome 9 years ago, and they've been a wonderful community. Great place
Wow.
to be able to provide resources for families who have a child with Down syndrome. So I wanted to be able to give back. I made my way onto the board. President found a vice president position for me, and then when he left, asked me if I would consider stepping up to the presidency. So I served that for a year, but then had to step down after that because I was just spread too thin.
Yeah, wow, that's wonderful. That, to get involved with that, and to give you support. I very much support, and balance it with everything else you do.
Yeah.
And you're the best interviewer we've ever had. There's in the interviewee, I should say. So I'd say right now, I predict directorships in your future, because
you
people
are
who are
so
willing
generous.
to communicate,
Wow.
things like that always bodes well.
Well, I appreciate that. Just being able to come down here and testify has been great. So
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Matt Wilcox. And what year was it you graduated again?
I graduated in 2014.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again on the full position, MSU, and literally probably millions of people are going to watch the stuff you're working on. Not to boast, but they are, because that's a pretty unique thing. You're processing, audiovisual materials, and then they're going to be there, and they'll probably be online, they'll probably be on YouTube and other things, and let's face it, there's a lot of Spartan fans.
Oh yeah, no, go green.
they're coming there all the time, so
Yep.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for coming down here and swinging by. It's the best things happen by chance.
Yeah, that's right. It was my pleasure.
So all right.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.